He did not just change the economy. In fact, he profoundly influenced how governments view fear, power, and money. John Maynard Keynes was not a politician. He would not even be considered a revolutionary, at least not in the way we usually understand it. Yet perhaps he left a more lasting impact than either, because he showed people and governments that sometimes the way out is not saving, but spending. For centuries, taking on debt was frowned upon. Budget deficits were seen as a moral weakness. Balanced budgets were a symbol of good governance, almost a matter of character. Keynes completely reversed this perspective. He argued that in tough times, spending is not wasteful, but responsible. He defined debt not as a burden, but as a duty to be fulfilled. He did not treat saving as a sacred virtue in every situation, and in doing so, he quietly reshaped the logic of capitalism. The story begins amid the ashes of the Great Depression. Picture the 1930s. Banks closed, factories stopped, millions were unemployed. The economics textbooks of the time all repeated the same thing. The market will fix itself. Supply and demand will rebalance. Prices will fall. People will start spending again. On paper, it made sense, but paper cannot fill an empty stomach. In real life, demand did not return. Factories did not reopen. People completely stopped spending to protect the last scraps of confidence they had. The economy was frozen. Looking at this, Keynes recognized a disturbing truth. Markets do not always act rationally. They do not always heal themselves. Sometimes they lock up under the weight of fear. When people stop spending, companies stop hiring. When companies stop hiring, incomes fall. As incomes drop, spending drops even more. This is a self-perpetuating cycle. The economy moves like a whirlpool. Keynes saw that the problem was not a lack of discipline. The problem was that money was not circulating. Simply put, if everyone tries to save at the same time, a recession begins. What makes sense for one family, cutting back, putting money aside, when done by everyone simultaneously, locks the system. Because one person's spending is another person's income. When spending stops, the heartbeat of the economy stops too. That's why Keynes made a suggestion that was radical for most at the time. If the private sector is paralyzed by fear, the government must step in. It must borrow. It must hire people. It must create projects, build roads, and put money back into circulation. Because it's not about money, it's about movement. When money starts moving, life returns. Keynes did not claim that debt is always good. He simply emphasized this: timing is everything. Spend in crisis, save in good times. Incentives and discipline are not alternatives but complements. He compared the economy to a car. Under normal conditions, the steering wheel is in the private sector's hands. But if the engine stalls, it is the government's job to turn the key. When the engine runs, the government should step back. In 1936, in the General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money, he put these ideas into a systematic framework. He introduced the concept of aggregate demand, the total spending by consumers, businesses, and government. When this demand falls, production falls, employment falls. The only way to reverse it is to increase spending until confidence returns. But for Keynes, this was not just about numbers. He thought of the economy together with human psychology. He said markets move according to primitive instincts. What drives people to invest or hoard money are their hopes and fears. You cannot fix these with formulas, but you can influence them through decisive and visible actions. When the government spends, it does not just create jobs, it also sends a powerful message: we will get through this. Sometimes this message is more powerful than money itself. This was what Keynes understood best. Recessions are ended not by belt-tightening, but by restoring confidence. At first, no one took him seriously. Leaders tightened belts. Britain returned to the gold standard and choked its exports. Germany restricted spending and pushed its economy into a deadlock. In the United States, Herbert Hoover, believing the market would correct itself, rejected large interventions, but the market did not recover. By 1933, a quarter of Americans were unemployed. Banks had wiped out savings. The free market was silent. Then Franklin D. Roosevelt appeared. He was not an economist, but his instincts aligned with Keynes. If people will not spend out of fear, the government must spend for them. The New Deal was not a single project. It was a mindset. Massive public investments provided employment to millions. The government became the largest actor, directly pumping wages into the veins of the economy. Over time, demand returned and confidence grew. But the ultimate proof came with war. During World War II, governments spent without hesitation, borrowed, and produced. For the first time in history, unemployment nearly vanished during a global crisis. Total war was the ultimate test of Keynesian thought, and it passed. Production rose, incomes grew. Even as bombs fell, economies revived. After the war, Keynes's ideas became mainstream. The welfare state was built, the Bretton Woods system established. From 1945 to 1973, a long period of economic growth began. Capitalism caught a second wind, but there was a cost to this breath. The system learned that it could solve every crisis with spending. It forgot how to pause. Saving during good times was neglected. Deficits became permanent. In the 1970s, limits emerged. Inflation rose, growth slowed, stagflation disrupted the balance. Confidence in Keynes wavered. Yet Keynes never fully left the stage. He simply stepped back. He waited for the next crisis. That crisis came in 2008. Governments remembered the power of spending, bailouts, stimulus packages, monetary expansion. Trillions were injected into markets. Interest rates fell to zero. Central banks were no longer just guiding the economy. They became the economy, and it worked. But this time money flowed not into real production, but into financial markets. Asset prices inflated, inequality deepened. The engine ran, but on the wrong fuel. Then the pandemic arrived. Keynes returned once again in his purest form. Government spent without limit. Money appeared overnight. For a brief moment, everything seemed miraculous. Then the bills arrived. Inflation rose. Supply chains broke. And the same question arose again. What happens when the tool designed to stabilize the system becomes the system itself? At this point, we must also consider the new challenges faced by modern economies. Globalization, technology, and automation have made economic balances far more complex than before. Today, the collapse of one sector can create global ripple effects. People still try to place their trust solely in banks and government policies. Yet Keynes's lessons apply to every era. Productivity, skill, and creative solutions do not lose value in any crisis. Investing in education, knowledge, and skills is one of the safest ways to survive in the modern economy. The resilience of a society or individual is measured not only by the money they have, but by what they can produce. For example, during the pandemic, those most secure were not only those with cash reserves, but also those producing food, energy, and digital services. Crises test not only wealth, but the capacity to create value. The same applies to companies. Instead of chasing short-term gains, providing sustainable, socially useful products and services, ensures both trust and economic strength in the long term. History shows that the strongest actors, in the face of changing rules, are those capable of producing value and creating trust. Economic crises and collapses are not just a test of monetary worth. They also test production capacity, creativity, and resilience. Individuals and governments reach true security only when they measure not just numbers, but the value they create and the contributions they provide to society. This is exactly where John Maynard Keynes's irony lies. He did not destroy capitalism, he saved it repeatedly. But in saving it, he transformed it into a system dependent on support, fragile and fearful of stepping back. The man who taught governments to spend also made them forget when to stop. If this story has opened a new perspective for you, you are in the right place. History is full of answers. I will show you where to look.